Hey everybody, this is Dan with Pain Free You. You know, it's incredible. I just sat down to shoot this video and you'll never imagine what is floating over my head right now. Literally right over my property. Can you guys see that air balloon? That is so cool. The hot air balloon. Try to zoom in. It's literally flying right over my house. And you can even hear that noise, the as they are pulling the cord to light the propane or whatever they use to heat the air so it makes the balloon float. What an interesting way to start the video, huh? So, today's topic is going to be mental gymnastics. So we're going to talk about that in a minute. I'm going to enjoy a beautiful day. Balloons behind the trees already, so I'm not going to be able to watch it float away. But that was pretty neat. What a gorgeous day. Spring is here. Heck, it's almost June. All right, so mental gymnastics. It's kind of part of being human, you know. When I was a kid, there used to be a comedian on TV that would say, "Oh, doctor, I hear voices in my head." The doctor says, "Stop that, they'll lock you up for that." All right. And I will tell you, we all have voices in our head. It's called thinking. So if your thinking is scaring you, and you're doing mental gymnastics, trying to figure out this mind-body stuff, the TMS, how do I heal myself? How do I recover? Oh my goodness, I did this wrong, I did that wrong. Maybe I need to do this. I should go do some more research because maybe the doctors missed something and I'm going to self-diagnose myself because I read something somewhere on a website that says sometimes people who have this really have this underlying condition. So, any of that sound familiar to you? I'm guessing it does. And I'll term that mental gymnastics. It's getting yourself all twisted and flipped over and, you know, just think about gymnastics. But we can do that mentally. We think ourselves into these traps or troubles. And my overall belief on thinking is, let's go back to square one. Once you've learned the cause of symptoms and it's perceived danger, it's not a structural problem, it's not any of that stuff, almost never, but I'll say the vast majority can benefit by this work, by teaching our own brains that whatever perceived danger there is not really a problem. So first and foremost, know what causes pain. Second of all, know that it applies to you. Once you've done the assessments and your symptoms are behaving like mind-body syndrome or TMS or what I call perceived danger pain or symptoms, if they're behaving in such a way that the characteristics are mind-body, then it's not your body that's the problem. It's the brain, the mind creating the symptoms. Once you know that and you know that it applies to you, there's nothing new to think about. Now, a lot of people tend to do the mental gymnastics about, okay, Dan, I understand my brain's creating the symptoms, and I know that applies to me, but I better think my way as to the very best way I can do this recovery process perfect. And you know, I took an aspirin the other day. Did I just sabotage myself? Because I know my brain might interpret fixing activities or treatments as proof that the body's the problem. And so, more mental gymnastics. Am I doing this wrong? Because we get very frightened that if we do it wrong, the symptoms are going to last longer, or maybe not go away at all. And so I guess the good question to really ask yourself is this. If you know what causes symptoms, and you know that that's what's going on with you, What's there to think about? What's there to figure out? What's there to heal? The only thing we have to do, and I know I'm minimizing this, but the only thing we have to do is teach this fearful, primitive brain that, hey, shh, it's a paper tiger, it's not a real tiger. It's a cardboard cutout. It's a rubber snake. It's a false alarm. There's no smoke. There's no fire. It's just the alarm. So, I've got a number of different ways to talk about that. We experience the world emotionally, physically, mentally. And if we can teach our brain that we are safer emotionally, physically, and mentally, the whole system's going to come down. So since this is about mental gymnastics, let's touch on the mental state. If we're doing lots of mental gymnastics all day, we're going to get all twisted up and upside down and doing flips and backflips and, kind of engaging in that thought process all day long. And if those thoughts are fearful thoughts, guess what we're doing? We're teaching the brain we're really in danger when we're not. So, awareness when your mind and your thinking is kind of going sideways or spinning faster, faster, faster. So that awareness is key, because if you're not even aware that you're doing it, how can you possibly teach your brain anything about that? So be aware of it. Notice it. How do you know that you're doing it? You're generally going to feel stressed out, adrenaline, cortisol, more anxious, right? Once you know that you're doing this, you can make a decision. Now, I teach in my course, which you can get if you join my program, but I teach in my course this exact thing. We don't have to stop the negative thoughts. Why? It's impossible. We're human. Our negative thoughts are basically the scared brain perceiving danger, and the thoughts are the warnings to go, hey, don't do that. We better not do this. What if this happens? What if that happens? That's all negative thoughts are surrounding our mind-body symptoms. It's just cautions. So it's up to us to go, shh, we're not doing that. So you don't have to stop the negative thoughts. And maybe that shh gave you the impression we want to stop them. But we don't have to stop the negative thoughts. That's impossible. Now, we don't have to fix the negative thoughts. Why? Because that would be exhausting. We have 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day. And if we had to fix all our negative thoughts, boy, we would be exhausted by 8 in the morning. So don't even try to convince yourself you have to think your way out of this and fix your negative thoughts with more thinking about thinking, because you think you've got a thinking problem, so we better fix this thinking problem with more thinking about thinking. And you see how quickly we go in circles trying to fix our thinking. So my suggestion, which I believe is the most accessible, practical, usable, and beneficial, is this. Notice the negative thoughts and allow them to go. We don't have to believe our own thinking. We literally don't have to believe our own thinking. And if you notice awareness that you're in that negative thought spiral or doing those mental gymnastics, you can literally go, I don't have to think about that anymore. Because often if we try to stop or fix the thoughts, what are we doing? We see the negative thought and we go, oh, that's a negative thought. Let me grab that and ruminate on it so I can figure out how to get rid of the negative thought. And by the time you're trying to figure out how to get rid of it, you've just had it 18 more times. What if you just allowed yourself to observe the thoughts? A lot like we suggest you observe your symptoms. Observe them. They're neutral. They're not comfortable, but they're not dangerous. They're only created by an overprotective brain perceiving danger. And this overprotective brain is operating on bad data and fear. So what if you could just learn to notice your negative thinking and allow those thoughts to pass? Don't allow those thoughts to have anything on you. If your thoughts are scaring you, don't become more afraid of the thoughts. Make a decision. I know better because I understand what's going on. I know what's causing it. I know it applies to me. There is a cure, and I know I'm capable of it, right? Those are the 4 foundational items I talk about all the time. So if you know those things, you know them, what's there to think about? I would encourage you to shift your thinking and your focus and your attention and your intention to life. What would I do if I didn't have a problem to fix today? Oh, well, I would probably do any one of these 16 things. And if you're not sure because you've been so consumed by the symptoms for so long, brainstorm. Play. Make believe you can do whatever you want. Because in theory we can. I know there's limits, but you get the point. We can choose how to spend our day. And if we're not spending our day all day, every day, trying to figure out how to fix these darn symptoms, we have a little bit more time on our hands to pursue other things that are more productive, meaningful, connection with others, joyful, right? If you say, but Dan, I can't feel joy. I'm so wrapped up in these symptoms. I can't be happy. You're right. The joy will come later. Focus on teaching your brain you're safe. A terrified brain does not have joy or happiness as a priority. But once you dial down the terror with accurate information as to what's going on, it applies to you, and guess what happens? Joy starts to come back in. Why? Because you're not so scared. So, I'm going to wrap it up here. Mental gymnastics. If you're doing that, notice it and make a decision to allow those thoughts to go by without those thoughts really having anything on you. So, love you all, and guess we'll see you tomorrow, like usual. Take care.